welcome to the Center for E-Learning. My name is Kathy McPherson. I'm an instructional designer and very happy to have you with us today. Our professional development workshop today is called Setting Up Our Students for Success in Your Online Course. Very happy today to have with us Dr. Frank De La Torre, and I believe Todd Price is on with us. And if there's anybody else, just please give a shout to our moderator, Marcelo. And our objectives today are that we want to define student success in an online course. We're going to also explore strategies in which to support student success in that online course. To get started, if you would join into the Padlet that we have online. One of the reasons that we like to use a Padlet is to demonstrate, oh, hello, who do I see face-to-face with us?
Manuel, ciao.
Dr. Pendner?
Yes.
Hi, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Ciao, thank you. Who are you? I don't see you.
I'm in Jupiter. Gina,
Gina, okay.
I'm Kathy. Are you able to see the screen there?
Yes. Okay, yes, now I see you. Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. It's great to have you with us. One of the reasons that we use the Padlet is not so much to discourage the discussion part, but we just want to demonstrate tools that can be used in your online course for collaboration. And Padlet's a neat one. It's a free tool, and all you have to do is go into Padlet and sign up for an account, and then you make your Padlet. They've got all kinds of neat backgrounds and things. So to use this, you're going to log in, and our moderator Marcelo will share the link with you if you don't have it already. And the question is, how do you define student success? That's our part one question. And I'm going to add it just to demonstrate that my name at the top here is Kathy. And I would say, what for me, if, okay, as a parent, I want my student / child to gain skills to use in your course. Okay, that might be one, and I chose the least teacherist one to just to give everybody else an opportunity to share theirs. Are you able to share with us? No? Okay. Marcelo, if he comes in on chat, just let us know, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, so of course, from your whatever perspective you have, that's going to affect your definition of student success. So for our purposes today, we're going to define it as the achievement of the course level objectives, which certainly for an Italian course, you would want to be able to speak Italian and understand when someone is speaking to you. And we're also going to break it down in terms of being able to achieve the module level objectives. And that's kind of technical, so we'll just move ahead here. I'm using today construction of a building as our metaphor. Now, here, the foundation is not an attractive, it's not a beautiful site, but I would say that laying the foundation is probably the most important part of building any kind of a house or a building, because if that's not firm, then your rest of your building is not going to go well, right? And so this is where we find ourselves with the course level objectives, that the course level objectives really are the foundation of the entire course. And we want to talk a little bit about measurable objectives. Course level objectives aren't necessarily measurable. So we need to know a way, how can we determine if the students have achieved the course level objectives? And the way we do that is to align our module level objectives with that. An example of this would be when we were doing the e-certification workshop. One of our course level objectives is that our learners will be able to apply best practices for online learning within their courses, in their course design. When we get into the module levels, we break that down and say the learners will be able to design, they'll be able to put together an assessment plan. So it's kind of like if you're teaching Italian, you break it down. You don't start with the students be able to understand all Italian. They break it down. We start with introductory dialogue maybe, then add on to different pieces and break it down into measurable, digestible pieces, excuse me. Are there any questions or anything that we want to add with that? Mary, do you have anything to add in terms of measurable objectives?
Kath?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, not now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Dr. Redner?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. So assessments. When we do backwards design, a lot of time we begin with the assessments. We have an exam that we want the students to pass. We have a project that we want them to put together. So we start with the assessments a lot of times, which is a really good place to start because what we do is we say, all right, here's what your final project needs to look like. For example, if you're building a house, here's what we want it to look like. And then we go backwards. How do we get there? We need to also consider the content. In Florida, if you want to build a house, you really need to use concrete, bricks, that sort of thing. I come from New England, and we love wooden houses. If you try to build a wooden house in Florida, you're not going to have it for very long because it's just too much moisture and termites and things like that. So we really need to use content that's appropriate to achieve our objectives. In an online course, this is especially important because, as we said, Mary was saying before, we need folks to be independent learners. If I'm an independent learner, I need to know exactly what's going to get me from here to there. I really don't want extra stuff. My time is very, very important, and I want to know exactly how to get from here to there. Is there anyone to add anything or? No?
Nothing from this side.
Nothing on that side, okay.
No.
So at the Center for E-Learning, we have developed something called a blueprint, and it's very similar to the construction of a house blueprint. And this is where we show actual alignment between course level objectives, module level objectives, assessment, and lesson content. We really lay it all out so that the learner can see exactly in each module, here's how I get from point A to point B. This is a very long process when you're doing a one-on-one e-design with an instructional designer, because we really drill down to exactly what exactly are we presenting to the learners, what are we having them bring back to us, and how do we make sure that that gets us to where we want to go. It's been very well received in the online learning community. When we've gone to conferences with it, folks are really excited about it. They want to make sure, they want to know if we'll share it with them. We're always happy to do that. And it's something we're very, very proud of. Okay, any questions so far? Objections? All right. Can we get a little bit of dialogue going on this particular picture and any sort of way that it might connect to what we're talking about? What do you notice in here that he's got set up that would ensure his success?
He has a master.
He's got the mask on. What would you say the mask is for?
Mary says protective gear.
Okay, protective gear. Thank you. Why? How can we compare that to what we have for our students in our course? What kind of protection do they need?
They need the tools for the job. So in this case, not necessarily protection, but definitely the right tools for what they're going to be asked to do. So in this case, I don't remember the name for that thing. Welding, right?
We'll call it welding.
I think that's what he's doing, right? So he has not only protective gear, but a wide range of tools and skills, so that a lot of things are in play here in that picture.
And he's alone also.
He's alone? Okay.
I
In
mean,
this picture, he's alone, but I would hope that he's got a partner, somebody on the ground.
yes. But anyway, he's an independent learner. I mean, he learned and now he's doing his job by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
This is the metaphor also, no?
Yeah. And probably there's a crane operator who put him up there. That may be the teacher in this case, in your analogy. It's a really cool analogy. So maybe the teacher provided the scaffolding and, the crane itself. And then he's there on his own, but he has everything he needs to be successful. He probably has even his lunchbox somewhere.
I would think that I don't expect him to go up and down too many times in one day.
Mm-hmm.
I think for whatever time he's going to be up there, he has everything that he needs.
Absolutely.
And I think you brought up a really good point, and Dr. Petner too, that there's someone on the ground or probably in radio communication with him, because what he's doing is kind of dangerous. He's and it's also important for the whole rest of the project too. He looks to me like someone who's in an advanced level class, who he's not he's not a beginner. He's got some skills already, and but if he gets hurt or if he needs help, he's got a way to communicate that. It wouldn't be any good for the company to have him up there by himself with no way to get the help that he needs. So in our online courses, we really we're communicating very clearly, the teacher is present. And, I think that it's important for us to point out that at the Center for eLearning, we have a particularly strong emphasis on instructors being the most valuable part of their course. You can go to other places and find sort of canned curriculum and anyone can run it, but that is not the case in the courses that we put together. As a matter of fact, every instructor who's part of an eDesign process with us is a research professor. This is not, we don't just have anybody doing this. And the reason is because we expect our students to get to this very high level. And the way to do that is to have a qualified, skilled instructor. Research absolutely shows that the teacher presence, the input from the instructor and the feedback from the instructor, it really is still the most motivating and the most important part of any educational experience. And so we really believe in that. The other thing that I would point out would be that there's very specific procedures there. He's not up there going any which way he wants. He's following directions. He's applying, if you're welding, you're putting this beam in a very particular place with up to particular standards, because folks will be eventually walking on that, and it needs to be solid. So what we do in our classes with that teacher presence as well is we set up communication expectations, we set up deadlines, we set up rubrics, and we really outline it very carefully of, there's no secrets here. If you want an A, here's how you get an A. You know, if you need me, here's how you can get me. If you need help with student success, here's how you get student success. Very, very transparent. Letting our students know we expect you to go very high, and we are here to support you and make that happen. And we feel the same way with our instructors too, as instructional designers. Any questions, any concerns, we're always available to make sure that you have the support that you need from our end as well. Okay, student interaction. Like we said before, the teacher really is the most important part of the course in terms of the student success. You know, laying it out, letting them ask their questions about the content, just going as far as they can with it. When the students start to interact with the instructor, the content, and each other, the course is looking really great. If you've ever built a house or seen one go up in your neighborhood, this is the part where you start to go, wow, this is going to be really beautiful. We can really start to see this. And there are a lot of different strategies for each important piece. So instructor, the instructor setting the tone. If you're excited about your course, your students will know. I hope that you can tell that I'm excited about this, because I am. You probably can tell I'm a little bit nervous too. And you know, it just goes to show even when you're in an online class, you are the one that sets the tone. So how would you, Mary, let's start with you if you don't mind. How would you as an instructor, or how would you advise instructors to start setting the tone for success with their students? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I heard the question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Now I can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the things that we always talk about is having a very clear syllabus, but also using the syllabus as your main way to set the tone for the course. So not only necessarily looking at the syllabus as this very formal document that sets out the expectations, but also your prime way of communicating with your students who you are, what your teaching style is, where you're coming from as a teacher. So if they will read your syllabus and that will be the entryway to your class, make it exciting, make it attractive, make it yours. So that's a very important way, in my opinion, of setting the tone for success and real communication.
Thanks, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And that's kind of unique. You don't really, I have not really thought of a syllabus before as being exciting, but you're right. There's no reason not to have yourself shine through as a confident and positive instructor. Love that. Thank you. Dr. Penner, what would you say about the instructor?
I completely agree with Mary. Communication is essential. At the beginning, I am more a motivator than a teacher, and so we talk a lot in class. I think it's possible to do it through an online class, thanks to the discussion board, or for example, in the class I'm building, it's Italian first level. I introduce myself with a video, smiling a lot, speaking in both languages, Italian and English. Italian words that are easily recognizable also in English, so they should understand even before the translation, so they have a first satisfaction. And yes, I think it's possible to do. From what I learned till today, it's possible to do this also in an online class. Yes.
Thank you. Love that. And like you said, with the video and smiling and modeling the language, so important. Marcel, do we have anybody who wanted to say anything online?
No.
Okay.
I very agreed with
Emanuele.
Emmanuel.
Absolutely. You know, an instructor can become a mentor for students as well. And you've gone ahead of them. You are the leader. You've gone ahead, and if I'm the student and you're the professor, that means you've gotten to a level that I would hope someday to get to. And if you encourage me of, yes, I did this, you can do it too, now you're empowering me and you're adding value to my life, which is, I think, the highest calling that anybody can have. So just awesome. Such a privilege to be a teacher. It really is. So your content. The content is your area of study. If you are an Italian professor, you have dedicated your career to this. And so wanting to make sure that your students have absolutely the best content available, the most accessible, and you know, being able to have them interact with that. Now, there are a lot of different ways to interact with content. Obviously, the textbook is our standard way, and that has not gone away. Hopefully it won't. Textbooks are awesome. I particularly like the online e-textbooks because, you know, I'm hitting 50 now almost, and gosh, some of those heavy books, they put a crick in your neck. So I love the fact that when I go online and I can highlight a textbook and take it on my iPad and I can have all my books with me. It's really, really great. Interacting with content. Mary, did you have any strategies for us to share? I know there are so many.
I'm sorry. Mary actually wanted to say something
Please,
additionally.
please.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead, Mary.
Marcela. Yeah, I thought it was the way Emmanuel phrased what he said before, that at the beginning of the course, he's more a communicator than a professor.
Yeah.
I think that nailed it, and I just wanted to say that. In terms of content, I am a fan of using real stuff from the real world, newspaper articles, anything that shows that you're not, and forgive me for what I'm going to say, a dinosaur. Like, you're not isolated from the world, but you are in the world. And that the kids, your students, see that what you're bringing into the classroom is valuable because it is relevant, it is real. And then for languages, which is what we all have done before and what Emma does, there's so much out there that I didn't have when I was learning English, like access to immediate videos and pronunciation and dictionaries. You only click on an icon and there goes the phonetic and the way to pronounce it. There's so much beautiful digital content that
Yeah, I agree completely. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, the textbook should be the least important tool.
it should, yeah, like Kathy said, it should be the foundation for you
Yes.
to then add your personal decor or your personal, the way you see how, you know, how the content can be taken from there to make it personal for your students. A word of caution, though, would be don't go to the other extreme and go and do too much, so it is overwhelming for your student. So I think that in many cases, the problem there is oh my God, I want to have everything there.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we can't. So being selective and making sure that we give them the right mixture and amount of content, I would say.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thanks, Mary.
I agree.
I agree completely, and we get so excited about our content sometimes that you're right, we want to give them everything that we've discovered along the way. But what helps to keep it manageable is to keep that alignment. Going back to that blueprint again of saying, what exactly is my purpose in this particular piece of content, and how does it connect with what we're doing in the course? And the beautiful part is that once the students are exposed to it, hopefully they will get just as excited about it as you are and take it to the next level and go find it in the rest of the world. I love that word relevance. That makes a lot of sense. And you also mentioned having students create their own content, and that's certainly relevant too. Thank you so much. Then we get to learner interaction. It's one of the pieces that people tend to be concerned about in an online course, because if they're not showing up to school and looking at each other, then how will they interact with each other? And Dr. Bittner mentioned the discussion boards before. I generally find that in a face-to-face course, a person like me, who's the chatty, talky one that sits up front and raises their hand all the time, can take up way too much instruction time, and I tend to steal it away from people who are more introverted and less likely to raise their hand. In an online class, there's really no way for anyone to hide behind someone like me. They will get just as much airtime as anybody else in the class. And I think that that actually enhances the learning experience. It's true that it's more difficult to see a person's face, their body language, you know, the social interaction. But if we remember that millennials are a lot of, I was talking to Dr. Brown the other day, and she was saying that the demographics of FAU specifically really are about age 20 years old. They're very young population for the most part. And millennials love working in digital media. They love texting, they love chatting with each other. You know, so actually being in the room with them is not necessary. You are able to fall in love with someone that you've never met before. So if we were to expand it from the discussion, what other tools would we recommend for learner-to-learner interaction and collaboration? Mary, can we start with you again, please?
My favorite one that I talk about all the time is peer review. And I have two children, and they're very close in age, and I saw how they would actually learn from each other, the good stuff and the bad stuff both. So I could see how they had their own way of interacting and communicating, and I see that with our students. As much as we want, we are not one of them, and that fact that they're equal and they are like-minded, they have the same interests, all of those things that they share come into play beautifully when we do peer review. So learning to teach them how to do peer review effectively, and then let them take it as their own. And believe me, they own it. They love it, and they can do a great job and probably see things from a different perspective. Another thing that I really like to do is having a monitor in the chat. So in the discussion board. So every module or every week have a person there who will summarize the entire discussion, who would guide the conversation, who would see patterns, who would identify the main issues and kind of steer the conversation and make decisions. This is critical thinking in action. So those two are basically my favorite ones.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mary. Thank you so much. I love that.
Thank you.
It also strikes me that with the peer review, you're really bringing your learners up to that higher cognitive level of interacting with the content to where I'm analyzing, I'm evaluating, I'm critiquing, I'm offering additional solutions. And really the best way to do that is you have to have another person in there in order to make that happen. Thanks. Dr. Penner, did you want to add anything?
No, but first I share the same experience of Mary. I have two children close in age, so I saw the same situation. They are learning a lot from each other, good and bad things, yes. And then I like my students when they work together. There also that feeling that competition is stimulated, their vanity is stimulated. So what maybe is not so good in usual life, showing off, it's good in a class because they want to show off but also they help each other. So yes, absolutely, this is important, something that I always can appreciate in my classes, and I'm sure I can apply to online classes.
I agree completely, and the competition certainly is part of real world experience, no question. The other piece would be if we've got someone who is struggling, having a peer partner can also be a good way to hold them up. Someone who's needing some extra support, if you take someone who's more advanced and give them a peer partner who needs some extra help, maybe someone who's learning English as a second language, or someone with intellectual disabilities, or whatever it may be, that can be a really good match sometimes. If it's a peer, there can be some level of respect there where both would benefit from the experience. Great. So we've already talked, actually our Padlet, since we've been talking about this all the way through, I'm going to go ahead and skip that part, and thank you for that. Let me go back for just a little bit in terms of the competition. One of the things that I'm a big fan of is badging, and I always try to bring it up because it's kind of new and sort of exciting. And badges are kind of an external motivator. It brings gaming theory into learning. It can be a little bit challenging to learn something new in terms of how to do it and all that kind of stuff, but it's actually kind of fun. We've been using it in our e-certification workshop this semester, and it's been pretty great to see people actually, there's these levels that you accomplish, and then boom, there's a thing that pops up, and millennials love that one too. Some people, your personality doesn't really need it. Other people, it's pretty exciting. And also getting that timely feedback from your instructor in terms of good job, getting your grades up and all that kind of thing. Thanks. So was there anything else that we wanted to share in terms of what other strategies you found to be really great in your classes, or anything else that we want to say about it before we finish up? No, we're good? Okay. So in summary, we defined student success today as accomplishing or achieving our course level objectives. And we talked about setting our students up for success by laying the firm foundation, making sure that our objectives and our assessments and our content align with each other, and that there's a strong teacher presence there, setting the tone, letting your students know that you want them to be successful, you expect them to be successful, and you're there to support that in any way that you can. And then applying a variety of strategies to make that happen. Using these interactive tools like Padlet or Google Slides and different things, and different types of assessments, which we can talk about more in other online workshops together, and working with each other. We love to show you our research data that goes along with this. It's not ours, but it's been shown that students, like Mary said, that are independent learners, that those who are using self-regulated learning strategies in their online courses are generally more successful. We do have support at FAU for specifically online learners. We're building more and more of that because our online community is getting bigger and bigger. There's also been research that shows that the 3 general factors really influence student satisfaction and their own perceived learning. That's clarity of design, which we get through our blueprint and our template online, interaction with their instructor, as well as active discussion among course participants. All of those things keep students engaged and interacting with their content. While we're together, I want to take a minute to plug the Excellence in e-Learning Awards. The deadline for those pieces is extended to April 10th. So if you would like to nominate yourself or nominate a colleague for excellence in online learning, we have categories for adjunct faculty as well as full-time faculty and leadership. And leadership is more administrators, folks who've been supporting online learning. If you would like the link to that, we'll be happy to supply that for you. It's on the Center for E-Learning website, and it looks like that. If we can pull it up. There we go. It's a really great thing. We've got some wonderful people involved in it and very, very excited about it. Go back here and really want to thank you for your time. Time is the most valuable thing that you have, and it's, Dr. Ventnor especially, it's so much fun to have you with us. We just really, really appreciate you taking the time to come down.
Very nice. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Mary, thanks so much.
Mary.
Absolutely. It's always my pleasure, guys.
And Mary's on her way to the Online Learning Consortium, and she's going to be there with Dr. Judy Summers, and so we wish you the best of luck in that as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Dr. Ventnor.